Have you ever been afraid of your own shadow? What if you know the animated shadow you're seeing is not yours at all? YouTuber Average American 2019 caught this shadow person on video in August of 2018. As he's descending the stairs of this building, a distinctive shadow is seen on the wall, passing in the opposite direction. Then as they descend a further stairwell, a second shadow person appears again. The man recording the footage notices the shadow person in real time. Luckily, he is with friends, so he can simply laugh off the incident. I'm guessing he'd feel differently if he was alone in this encounter. In paranormal lore, shadow people are considered by many to be masses of living humanoid figures. Paranormalists believe they are the presence of a spirit or other entity, while some think shadow people are creatures of evil intent. Others consider them neutral, or even helpful extra-dimensional beings. Whatever you think they are, this video will surely make you afraid of the dark. While exploring an abandoned place, this paranormal crew found a demonic doll. What followed next was shocking. Published by Toppy in December of 2021, Sergey takes this rickety staircase into the attic, where he finds this creepy doll. After handing the doll to Nastia, they decide to take it with them. Sergey says they sat in the haunted home for 15 minutes and heard noises that were unfortunately not recorded. It's unclear if their cameras malfunctioned or what went on, but they have decided to try and communicate with the spirits through the doll. After the doll tells them let's play, the pair decide to pack it up and head home. But before they do, this happens. Is this doll truly possessed? Or was it just exorcised of its demons? A YouTuber named Tracy Slaughter and her family hear a disturbance at the top of the steps, and they grab the camera to record what they are seeing for proof. It starts out very hard to see at first, but soon a pale white outline slowly appears against the wall. The head becomes visible in the very center of the room where the two wall patterns meet.
I didn't say lights. Oh, you didn't say lights? Did you say go across? The light go across the top of the landing?
If you still don't see it, don't feel bad. The next part is much more obvious. Keep looking at the center of the stairway to see it.
Surely just gone across the top of the landing, and that's moving.
Can you ever see it?
A being of pure white energy rushes down the steps and heads straight at them. If you play it in slow motion, you can see something actually comes around the corner and charges down the steps at them, sending everyone scattering. I guess this could be special effects, but I would like to get your opinion. The way everyone screams at the exact same time with true panic in their voices makes me think it could be real, in which case I'm glad they got out of there fast. If it was rushing forward to possess one of them, then I truly hope it does not succeed. While inside the screaming house, YouTube team Moxley's Paranormal World doesn't hear the screams, but they do feel the fear. It starts with a sensation.
See how you can see my shadow? I know you're here, I can feel you. This is one I've never been able to... There's something here. Whoa! What was that?
Something was on me, and spider on me. No.
Then they hear something.
I'm hoping the camera's picking this up.
A cat ball is triggered in another room, and some of their other paranormal devices go off as well.
Who's got a cat ball?
Pardon?
Cat ball's going off.
Oh! And again?
My K2's going off as well. What?
Thank you for that.
The K2 starts lighting up as it sits in a chair.
K2.
Are you sat in that chair? Yeah. Is this your chair?
As they're distracted by the K2, a shadow figure sprints past behind them.
Did he want us out? Look at that, it's just a straight red. Mate, I just got a shadow. I've seen a shadow behind me. Do when you just see the outline fly behind?
And they keep hearing a female voice.
He's turning on my face, isn't it?
Very strange in here.
And I said it was a female voice that. Do you know what, right? Do you know what I can picture in here? It sounds going off.
All evidence points to a female presence lying low in the screaming house. I just want to know the story behind this place. Ron Stevens is ghost hunting in the haunted attic of the Tilly Pierce house, one of the most haunted places in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. This is where a woman named Tilly Pierce fearlessly tended to those in need during one of the most vicious conflicts of American history. The 15-year-old medic had so many units to watch over that not everyone pulled through, and so ghost sightings in this haunted house are not uncommon. It isn't long before a ghost apparently begins exploring the paranormal equipment they've set up on the ground for it to communicate with, including Bob, the motion sensor activated dog, whose nose lights up when anything passes by.
That's pretty bright.
Yeah, yes. And look at it to me.
Is someone petting Bob? Can you step away from Bob real quick?
They ask the ghost to step away and it immediately stops, which indicates some kind of intelligent presence is with them in the haunted attic.
Now touch Bob. Thank you.
Oh, I don't think
like
a sauna up here compared to
what's that?
And soon the ghost is playing with other motion detecting equipment too.
There it is again.
Oh, thank you.
The more paranormal equipment they put on the ground, the more the ghost seems to want to interact.
Any Pierces here, or anybody that knew the Pierces?
One of the paranormal investigators begins listing names that she's researched, and orbs begin to fall as she does so.
Did you play with Molly or Margaret? Or Tilly?
Followed by a scary scratchy voice that repeats "I did" in a demonic tone. And as they are all adjusting their paranormal equipment, one of the creepy dolls moves by itself, and by that I mean falls over, considering they brought this doll out there specifically for the paranormal to attach themselves to. I wouldn't be surprised if this was the moment a doll possession was caught on tape.
Here, I wanted to show you these.
Why isn't someone turning up the
A strange creature straight out of The Lord of the Rings was caught on camera in the woods. Published by SEOOOSST in April of 2022, the video appears to have been captured at dawn. The cameraman is walking through the woods. As he scans the area, his camera passes over this tree trunk and spots this mysterious creature hidden within. The creature has long pointy ears, big beady eyes, and grayish skin. Frankly, he looks a bit like Gollum. Upon seeing it, the cameraman immediately runs off. Is this a cryptid, a gnome, or is this Gollum looking for his precious? After receiving a motion alarm on their cabin's porch camera, Redditor Into the Dark WMe reviewed the footage and noticed this. A black mist drifts out of the cabin. A moment later, it looks like a bright light turns on straight ahead toward the woods. The Redditor says there is no street lamp or any other type of bright lights on the property. They ask Reddit for an explanation, and they offer some. Many disagree with the bug theory and say it looks like smoke, maybe it's a swarm of bugs, but the bright light has me considering extraterrestrials. What do you think is going on here? This dashcam video originates from somewhere in Russia. A large truck swerves out of the way of something invisible, narrowly missing oncoming traffic in the process. Then a pedestrian suddenly appears from behind the truck and calmly walks away like nothing happened. The uploader of this video is sure that this is a ghost, and assuming this video is not CGI, I would have to agree. Slow the video down and you can clearly see how nothing is in the truck's path at first, and then the person instantly appears cars only after the truck has passed. It's almost as if the truck has passed straight through them. This may surprise you, but there are certain tribes around the Amazon rainforest that have never had contact with the modern outside world. These shots from above paint a picture of these uncontacted tribes being hostile towards seeing helicopters and drones in the air. So encounters with them are quite rare, since it's best not to interfere with these tribes. So this new drone footage was jaw-dropping when they actually managed to capture this uncontacted tribe on video. If you look closely, you can see there's 16 people quietly walking through the rainforest here. I think it's best if they don't try to get any closer. They certainly don't want a repeat of what happened before. It's creepy to think there's people on this earth who have never seen the modern world, but I agree these groups should remain uncontacted and self-sufficient. A YouTuber called Douglas Cash stands at the entrance of these caves in the Bahamas. The stunning scenery grows less colorful and more claustrophobic as he takes a few hesitant steps inside. Soon he finds himself staring down a tunnel that looks barely large enough to support a human when a wild shriek fills his ears. Listen to this and tell me what it could possibly be, animal or otherwise.
Boy, you know I ain't going down yet, right?
Whatever it is, it sounds about medium-sized, but vicious enough to tear your throat out if given the chance. Even Douglas doesn't seem to recognize the menacing noise and decides not to go any deeper. But since he did come all the way out to this area by foot to do some exploring, he decides to hang around the cave entrance for just a bit longer. After all, it's brighter here, and he doubts whatever he heard is going to come out of the darkness. He explores for another 2 minutes or so, studying the natural rock formations and whatnot, and then decides to call it a day. But unknown to him, looking back at him from the darkness are two glowing eyes that quickly disappear, and if you listen closely, you can hear some kind of chittering language that could indicate a certain level of intelligence. Todd T captures a large humanoid-looking figure going down his neighbor's chimney. He's too far away to pick up any discernible details, but the creature looks to be far too large to be a bird or pretty much any other animal. Whatever this is, it looks to be the size of a human. The mysterious creature stuffs itself down the chimney in less than a minute, at which point I'm guessing it roams around the interior of the home for whatever it can find. What happened to Todd's neighbor is anyone's guess. Chelsea Luna and her friend James go ghost hunting in an old haunted tunnel from the 1920s. This creepy shadow figure at 18 minutes and 7 seconds is what they find. Everyone says that this is a real ghost sighting, but I'm pretty sure this alleged apparition is simply Chelsea's finger while pointing at something. You can kind of see the rest of her hand when you look close, a split second before it happens. So I think this scary ghost sighting is an accident and not real. A YouTube channel called Mux9TV goes exploring some extra scary woods in Pakistan late at night when they find some really creepy stuff that leaves them really freaked out. Out of the woods staggers a mysterious figure who refuses to speak for a long time. His eyes look haunting, like he's seen too much in too short a time and has been wandering for days, unable to get it out of his mind. The group does not know how else to help this person, and so they recite some words of faith over him, which works to the extent of scaring him away back to wherever he came from. This doesn't look like a ghost sighting so much as the aftermath of a person who has had a paranormal experience of their own in the forest and has succumbed to madness in the days since. Either way, they're definitely not the type of person you'd want to encounter in the woods, so I bet the group is relieved when he runs away, but at the same time, he could probably use some help. Hopefully he finds peace, but with that scary stare, I don't see how such a thing is going to be possible. Two friends are walking around the haunted Matlock Cemetery in Iowa when they see something possibly watching watching them from afar, a white head that's barely visible behind a tree.
This is scary. You see that? Oh my god! What? Did you see that? What was that?
They aren't sure what it is until they go up to the tree. It was behind and get a closer look, or should I say it gets a closer look at them.
Oh my god! What was that? Oh!
Here it is again, a man wearing baggy clothes and a possibly white mask, though his face is too blurry to tell. I don't know if this was a maintenance worker, one of their friends, or a genuine creeper looking to do them harm, but I do think they made the right choice getting out of there, and I hope for their sakes they never went back. Don't believe in unknown beings? What if one strolled right up to tap on your window? This unknown being footage, posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by 77 Curran, will inspire you to take a trip over to Area 51. The footage shows an unknown being approach the window of a home. Its features are quite clear, with black gashes for eyes and an elongated cranium. You know, the kind of features you might expect from an unknown being. The unknown being stands there, peering into the home, observing. It even looks as though it's trying to find a way to open the window. If that is indeed what it's doing, it doesn't succeed, instead slinking off, perhaps to find the homeowner to take him. What do you think of this unknown being footage, real or fake? Either way, I'll be locking my windows tonight. When you explore abandoned places, you're bound to run into squatters once in a while. YouTuber Aiden's escapades isn't sure if he's encountering a person or a pile of blankets during his current escapade. Judge for yourself.
Oh no, dude. You got that stick, right? My heart is racing. It's been moved. Is there anything underneath there, John? Pull it all the way off. Just pull it all the way off.
Although they don't find a human body beneath the body-shaped pile of blankets, they do find a living creature.
Oh, you're sitting in the bed. I'm sorry, come here. Pick the little guy up. Looks like he's gonna do okay.
And that's not the only thing living in this abandoned home.
Guy, these guys up shit. Hopefully they can find...
Aiden concludes that they may have investigated too late.
Is anything underneath those blankets? It's not here now.
But my verdict is that it was just blankets all along. Uh-oh, the hand is reaching out from the other side. YouTube channel It's Jammer shares this creepy video that'll give you nightmares. The clip's original source is Instagram account Spikers.
¿Decir cuánto? Sí, hágale.
Uy, marica, venga. ¿Qué siguieron rápido? Marica, perro, lo grabé, venga.
That was a hand, a child's hand. Look more closely, and yet there's no one there.
Marica, perro, lo grabé, venga.
This is just one of the many terrifying things that have occurred in the Instagrammer's house. Personally, I think his footage is some of the creepiest of its kind. Does your workplace have a paranormal whirlpool? Mine neither, but YouTuber Matusis does, and she's captured the crazy anomaly on video. Take a look.
¿Qué será? Parece que alguien atrás se me gira.
Sí.
Claro, que echar que no pudiste.
You have a city within the Great Hawaii,
This is a hospital in San Miguel de Tucumán, but what is causing this? At first, I thought perhaps it was a fan or vacuum blowing from above, but when it began to create this strange shape in the foam, I wasn't so sure, but YouTubers in the comments have some theories.
It's in the app.
¿Qué será, no? Parece grabando. ¿Qué hace eso?
Pide ayuda.
Others refute Diego's assessment.
Yo pensé que lo van a esperar.
Yo también pensé que era, pero...
Viste, está mejor que cuida a mi sobrina.
I agree that it's not sodium or entities, so what is it? A vortex into another world? I think only someone brave enough to dive in could find out. If you like to scrounge for snacks at night, this video will have you second guessing that midnight snack. Posted to Reddit by Better Than Better, the home security footage reveals a dark and seemingly empty kitchen at night. Around 30 seconds in, a man trudges in and opens the fridge to get a snack. While the man is standing at the fridge, drinking something, watch the teddy bear on the kitchen table. It starts moving ever so slightly, bobbing up and down, but that's not all. When the man closes the fridge and turns to leave, the baby walker next to the table does this, confused about whether he saw what he thinks he saw. The man doesn't take his eyes off the baby walker as he leaves the room, but he returns a short time later, his wife by his side, presumably to explain what happened. As he's indicating that the baby walker moved of its own accord, the teddy bear falls over, or rather seems to fly backwards, as the wife jumps out of the room and the man approaches the bear. Two of the chairs tucked under the table spring out simultaneously. If that isn't enough to scare you out of your own home, I don't know what is. I believe dealing with an incident like this is something 99% of people couldn't handle. Two friends are riding down the Kerala highway in India when they see what they later agree has to have been a ghost of some kind. The figure is dressed in pure white and holding something, maybe a flashlight. Creepiest of all is how they seem to be deeply staring into the darkness at something. They are in such a deep state of concentration that they don't even look up when the car zooms by just a few feet away. They remain frozen in place and seem to be holding their face in surprise. If this is a ghost, then they could have been looking at the roadside remains of their own body. Do shadows have a life of their own? Posted to the r/ghosts subreddit. Before Ever Unknown 54's friend captured this strange anomaly on a home security camera. The footage, taken on January 21st, 2022 at around 11 p.m. shows a strange shadow shift in the kitchen with no known source casting its movement. According to the Redditor, there is no window or skylight in the area. The light source you see on the video is from the kitchen light overhead. This is what the kitchen looks like in the daytime. The Redditor writes, "The way the shadow seems to float from above the countertop to the ground is just very strange to me." Some in the comments think a cabinet either fell open or shut, but the Redditor notes that, combined with other unexplained events in the home, this seems suspicious. She writes, "They've had various things happen over time. There's been orbs, stuff falling over walls, animals reacting to the noises or visuals, etc. Is this just part of the same paranormal trend? The evidence does seem to be mounting." Ghost investigations are even scarier in another language. In this video posted to YouTube in December of 2018, ghost investigators attempt to infiltrate an abandoned house that we can only guess is haunted. At least it looks that way. While exploring the home, the investigator keeps hearing things moving, debris being unsettled, and from the way he's jerking his camera around, it seems he's sensing movements around him. What is in this home with him? The place appears as though someone just picked up and left. It's covered with debris and looks like it was abandoned in a state of chaos. While creeping around some upstairs room, the ghost investigators appear to sense someone or something, and that something grabs a hold of him. It's clear he's struggling with a force in the home. He tussles with it and for a moment is dragged backwards by the force before he escapes, racing out of there like his life depends on it, which it probably does. What is going on in this video? Is there any explanation as to what pulled this ghost investigator backwards? It certainly looks real to me. For fear of knowing, don't answer. After all, I don't think 99% of people could handle the answer.
어딨어? 자, 이제 좀 나와봐.
This ghost video from a bus station in Sydney, Australia has everyone convinced it's real, even the camera equipment itself. A shadowy mist floats across the upper right monitor, and soon motion tracking equipment puts a bright orange box around it to confirm. It eventually floats off the monitor, at which point it should show up on the other monitor to the left, but nothing appears.
Look at that.
The motion sensor tries to track it for a bit longer and then gives up. It has simply vanished. 3 masked men attempt a daring heist in Sydney, Australia at the Miller Shopping Centre. They are in the middle of taking jewels when literally everyone in the store decides they are not going to take this, and soon the men find themselves running for their lives. Customers and staff join together and chase the men out of the mall. Not even the fact one of the masked men is holding a sledgehammer is enough to hold back the angry vigilante mob. The 3 masked men flee into a red van and speed away with the mob close behind. With so many similar instances caught on video, it's quite a surprise to see everyone join in to chase off the robbers for once. Did you know that man has explored more of Mars and the moon than we've explored the depths of our own oceans, which leads us to some of the strangest oddities on Earth, including this one, the giant's pyrosome, looking like a large transparent tube slide. A giant's pyrosome is comprised of thousands of identical clones of zooids that form an up to 60-foot hollow cylinder that can be wide enough for a grown man to fit inside. The free-floating tube appears like a ghostly discarded piece of see-through fabric known as sea pickles. Giant pyrosomes are bioluminescent, which means you can see them glowing blue-green in the sea at night. Published to YouTube by Ross Overstreet in June of 2018 and supplemented by footage from Luis Bringas in December of 2014. This giant pyrosome off the southern coast of San Clemente Island will send you off the deep end. These videos show the creature in action, or rather inaction, as it floats unobtrusively near the seafloor. What would you do if you crossed paths with this oceanic nightmare? Would you be brave enough to swim through? And more importantly, would you make it to the other side?
I found or saw a mysterious creature around 4 in the morning.
A YouTuber named Bishop has caught a creature on doorbell cam that he can't explain. The video looks like a bug, except Bishop says that the motion sensor absolutely will not turn on for insects of any kind. There are wings, but he says they could possibly belong to some kind of humanoid creature. Whatever it is, it does something really weird next after it lands under the bench. It just kind of, well, disappears. It doesn't fly away and it doesn't crawl under the bench. It just vanishes. Something that an ordinary insect wouldn't do. It could be time-lapse editing because the ground gets darker when it disappears, signifying that some time has passed. I'm almost positive that this one isn't real, but let me know what you think. This campus is home to a fixture called the Ghost Lamp, a light with a life of its own. According to legend, a young woman who attended the college took her life when she was kicked out. The woman's soul remains in this light. None of the other lights in this area flicker like this. Redditor Hyperpain thought it was bull until his brother took him there, and then this happened.
There he goes, up. Can you turn on full bright for my friend Regan? Oh, hi. There it is. See? See? It does that. That's what it does. Okay. See?
It seems to respond to their request, but does that mean it's paranormally activated? An electrician and a priest weigh in the comments. Well, I guess that settles it. The ghost's soul must have some faulty wiring. This retro arcade room is ruined by faulty wiring, or else a real ghost. To demonstrate, the owner picks up the remote to his ceiling fan and turns the light off.
Nope, there it is. Wow.
The lights somehow turn on by themselves despite not touching the remote at all. At 4 seconds, we can see the nearest light switches all the way across the room from the distinctive shark skateboard that he's now standing by, so he couldn't have hit that himself, and no one else is with him. Then, not only does the fan turn on by itself, but it also kind of goes the wrong way for a little bit first, which I don't think is normal. In a different video, the light looks much brighter than before, yet returns to normal brightness when turned off and back on. This time, he turns the light out and leaves the remote on the wall. He steps out towards the middle of the room, and the light comes back on before he even gets a chance to properly set up his camera. Based on what I've seen here, I think these videos are real, because nothing stood out as blatantly fake. If this house is haunted, let's just hope it's not a malevolent spirit. After all, you wouldn't want to give up an arcade setup that nice. A YouTube channel called Dark Haunts Videos travels to the famous haunted train tracks in San Antonio, Texas, where a school bus full of children were said to have lost their lives. The road looks like it's on a small hill here, according to him. Do you agree?
But it looks like it's uphill. Cars in neutral and off. We are slowly moving.
If the local legend is true, ghost children are pushing them up a road and straight past the very same tracks that they themselves were not able to cross over alive. Somebody needs to measure this road to see if they are really being pushed uphill. If they are, then this is amazing. It is really creepy though how the car stops all by itself within seconds of going over the tracks. Vorkuta was a coal mining settlement during the Soviet era. It has since become a semi-deserted wasteland. Published by Vagabond, this adventure seeker went to check out the ghost town at the end of the world.
Here is roughly more than 200 people.
On the background of such amount of abandoned buildings, an active mine looks surrealist.
Traveling there by train, the only accessible means of transport to the area, he encounters the first steam engine that ever appeared in the area in 1944. The once thriving city was served by 13 coal mines in its heyday, where workers received a good salary and twice the pay they might back home due to the added northern coefficient pay. Directly across from clean bright offices are empty derelict buildings. Other empty structures are topped with massive piles of snow. Atop an enormous 9-story building is a phrase that translates to "Glory to the conquerors of Arctic territories." Vagabond also takes in the coal miners' quarters, located on the Vorkuta River embankment. Would you be able to live in this half-abandoned Arctic town? You'd better learn to love the cold. A man films the road ahead while speaking in a different language. I'm not sure what he says, but it sounds like he is trying his best to stay calm in the face of danger. If you can translate this part for me, it would really help.
Berikan ku kekuatan dan jauhilah segala sanggup, jauhilah segala kejahatan ya Allah.
He slowly turns around the camera to reveal a hooded figure floating in his car. Only the upper half of its body is visible, and there's total darkness where its face should be. He doesn't dare look at the phantom in his rearview mirror, instead keeping his eyes on the road and letting the camera look for him. If this isn't a prop, then what could it be besides a ghost? The abandoned boys are exploring a haunted forest where some scary things are said to lurk late at night. They reach a mysterious clearing, and while searching through the tall grass, they somehow miss a figure in blue robes standing right in front of the camera at 12 seconds. 14 seconds later, the same figure has somehow teleported and now stares them down. In this alleged witch sighting caught on camera in the woods, a woman is hunched over and appears to have her robes pulled over her head. She moves slowly, and assuming this is real and not one of their friends, no doubt has a curse or two waiting for them upon her touch. Her very image itself might be cursed, and could explain why the video has lost most of its quality. The Franklin County Old Jail, which was established in 1818, is widely known for being extremely haunted, and usually, it seems that whoever dares to enter finds themselves getting more than they bargained for. A YouTube channel named Paranormal Purgatory decided to venture down into the jail themselves to have a look around the place. The jail is eerily decrepit and worn down, something you'd expect from a 200-year-old building, but just because it's worn down doesn't mean that the place remains uninhabited.
Look at that. Let's get real.
See the old rocking horse in there?
Know what I see.
Go in there.
Know what I see.
Go in there.
Know what I see.
Go in there. Did you hear that?
I heard that too.
There's a whistle.
So next to the bed here, I do kind of see what they're talking about here. If you just focus on the bed, there appears to be just kind of this shadow, and then it almost seems to take off to the right here.
Old rocking horse in there?
Know what I see.
Go in there.
Know what I see.
Go in there.
Know what I see.
Go in there. Did you hear that?
Oh, right there. Okay, I now see exactly what they're talking about. So there's going to be a flash of light. So it looks like it's like a head and kind of a torso, and there's that flash of light, and then it looks like it just sort of pops right up. It happens so quickly. I should play this in slow motion. Right here, don't you see that? And then it just pops right up just in the split second that it's shown in the light. Even though the crew behind the channel had only just started to look around the jail, little did they know that they didn't need to look any further for signs of paranormal life, as you can make out what appears to be some sort of shadow figure right next to the bed, which vanishes just as quick as it appears. During the rest of the video, the crew explores the remaining areas of the jail, but are ultimately unable to find any other signs of paranormal activity. Even still though, seeing this shadow figure in person during an investigation would be enough to terrify anybody. Described by Redditor Yeezus_C as footage of something. I'm going to play you this video so you can see what that something is. Pulled from security footage, an office chair is captured spinning on its own, and toward the end of the clip, it makes a final turn.
Ow.
Those in the comments have several theories. Well, I think it could be any one of these theories. I wouldn't rule out a passed away office worker with an axe to grind. I can picture a horror movie about it already. This man is panicking, and he has reason to. Published by Hayalet Videolari in November of 2013. The creepy footage he captured will have you on edge. Though there's no context to this clip, the man is in a room alone, and he's very much afraid.
Guys, this is the area that I've seen a spirit roaming freely.
What of? We're not sure yet, until...
Hey, are you there? Are you there inside? Oh my god! Oh my god!
After freaking out some more, the man wheels around the frosted window panel, and there's no one behind it. To whom does this hand belong? I'd wager the invisible man. YouTuber Burak Dohan Paranormal is about to enter the house of a man who made a deal with the Burrier Jean. He has yet to enter the house before something disturbs him.
Sister.
He deciphers the EVP as "we came." A short time later, he hears something again. This time the EVP says, "We're all around." Once inside, things get more bizarre.
Bismillah. Bismillah.
What was that sound? As he continues his search, something raps on the window. Whatever is in the house with him becomes more animated.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. 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 Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
The last EVP he hears says, "Go here." Go where, I wonder? The ghost hunter doesn't hear it in the moment, so he doesn't follow these orders. I think he might regret it though. Watch your brains, there's a zombie on the loose. Published by Mr. Illusion in February of 2022, this YouTuber captured what he thinks is a zombie on camera. Dressed all in black, the figure lurches through the high grass. On closer inspection, he appears to be missing his cranium. Despite this, the crew follows this creepy figure, who also looks to be carrying a tool or small hatchet in his hand. He weaves through the woods, off on a mission to do what? I'm not quite sure. Is this a zombie? Or something out of the mind of Ichabod Crane? It's early in the morning when somebody wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, and I mean that literally. The silhouette of a hand silently beckons beneath his brother's bed. The uploader of this video says the creepy shadow hand appeared one morning without warning and that it's real. I guess he was too afraid to go under the bed and find out what it was, because the video ends then and there. Can't say I blame him. Hopefully somebody is holding their arm over the bed to create an illusion with their shadow of a hand reaching out, because otherwise this is just beyond creepy. A dad and a daughter are all smiles as they board an elevator. The ride is smooth and they look at themselves in the mirror for about 30 seconds, completely unaware of how unsafe they actually are. Minutes later, the empty elevator is ripping past floors with enough speed to shake the entire carriage. The door is slightly open and nothing is working properly as the lift slams into the roof hard enough to dislodge panels and light fixtures. Thankfully, no passengers were on board, but had the two from earlier still been inside, it would have been a daddy-daughter demise for certain. I can only wonder how many times something like this has almost happened to you or me without realizing. Things went wrong for the Ouija brothers even before they hit record in the butcher's house. They hear voices outside approaching the abandoned home.
That's out that way now.
After the voices recede, they continue on through the house, but again they hear voices, this time screaming.
What they're doing?
It sounds to me like she was screaming for help, and then...
You're just gonna steal out of it.
After a while, things settle down, but they can still hear people there. At first, I wasn't sure if someone was in trouble or if these were kids trying to play a joke on them, but later on in the video, they confront the kids. Although they had to abandon the investigation, at least this didn't turn out as terrifying as it seemed. Anthony lives around a bunch of abandoned farmlands that he has always wanted to explore. So he takes his camera and spends the whole day poking around. He doesn't know anything about the history of this land or why it was abandoned, but the more he discovers, the less alone he feels.
There's a bed in here. Hello?
The buildings are all single-story structures in various states of decay, and each one is somehow distinctly lonesome in its own way. By the time he comes across the main house, he is very jumpy and senses eyes on him from afar. Tell me if you hear whispering during this part when he opens the door.
It's There he is.
I guess it could just be the creaky springs of an old screen door or something, but it really does sound like it could be voices. Anyway, the inside of the house is pretty well kept, especially compared to the other buildings, yet the unrelenting unholy aura only grows stronger with each step he takes. At one point, an abandoned nursery room literally makes Anthony nauseous. Surely something bad must have happened here.
This was a kid's room. Man, I feel so uneasy. I feel dizzy.
Anthony manages to check out the rest of the house, even the basement, without incident. He's ready to leave altogether, but there's just one final surprise left for him on the way out.
What the f was that? Something literally kicked the door.
The door abruptly closes with a short and impolite slam, the exact kind that homeowners use when they are upset with someone for being at their door. I don't think Anthony shut the door by himself because he was out of arm's reach when it happened, and maybe it's just me, but I think I can see some kind of shadowy mist in the window on the right. Coincidentally, in the same room he was just in. Published by Dark Ghost Paranormal in August of 2021, Dennis set up cameras in a bunker hidden beneath a school, and this abandoned bunker in Germany has some mysteries up its sleeve. One camera captures a door slowly opening. In another room in the school above, Dennis asks for a sign that someone's here, and this is the response.
Знак, если надо где-то еще искать.
In the bunker, a blast makes Dennis jump. It sounds like it's coming from this box. Later, the light from his camera shuts off, and he's left in the darkness. Through the spirit box, the spirits tell him it's a trap. Strange carnival-like music seems to be coming from the spirit box. As Dennis's lights continue to malfunction, he has no escape. The door to the room is locked, and he can't get it open. He is in the darkness again with only a lighter to keep him company, while something unknown growls from the shadows. Later, he is told through the spirit box not to come. He finds the previously locked door mysteriously open to him. After racing out of there with his equipment, we can only imagine that he heeded the spirit's advice and never returned, which is a smart call. This Redditor's friend captured something mysterious on her Ring camera. The footage shows a chair sitting outside on the porch. One moment it is empty, the next a figure seems to be sitting there.
Okay, so now I'm going to slow it down for you guys. You see that? I don't know what the that is in my chair. The stool moves back and forth just once.
Some in the comments say the entire frame is jumping, which suggests a time lapse in the video.
Okay, so now I'm going to slow it down for you guys. You see that? I don't know what that is in my chair. The stool moves back and forth just once.
Without the full video, they think a pet or a wild animal may have perched in the chair, appearing like a person, but it doesn't look like any species of animal I've ever seen. What do you think is going on here? Can you feel the evil in this house of satanic worship? YouTuber Chris L. Luna can. She and Laura Rivas enter to see what evil it holds. While touring the place, they find a bottle of black magic liquid inside.
Mira los espíritus. ¿Oíste? Sí.
As they continue, something appears to confront Chris L.
¡Ay! ¡Flor! No, soy Rosario. Cuidado, ¿sí lo puedo agarrar? Sí.
Laura sprays what I assume is an antidote on her, and they continue on. In another room, they spot a portal drawn on the wall and hear laughter.
Las risas. Cállate. Se están riendo, ve afuera. ¿Cómo se empezó a mover? Se están riendo de nosotros, Laura. Ve cómo se está moviendo.
Later, they again hear laughter.
Ay, Dios mío.
¿Te vas a reír de mí por lo que voy a hacer?
Noting that all the windows are closed, they find a lifeless bird on the floor.
Están las ventanas cerradas, en verdad. Vean cómo está todo cerrado. ¿Cómo llegó aquí? ¿Cómo llegó aquí?
Está fresco.
La maldad.
Is this a remnant of a satanic ritual performed here? I think it is, and if that's the case, they should get out pronto. This offering looks fresh. With a name like Forest of the Black Cross, this place is bound to experience some shady supernatural happenings. Captured and published to YouTube in July of 2021, the crew are filming at night in the dark and haunted forest, and what they encountered does appear to be supernatural. Something is disturbing the forest, and as they zero in on it, they spot the dreaded figure amongst the thick brush.
Tá vendo, gente? Deus! Cadê, gente? Ele tá descendo. Ele ali. Olha, meu Deus do céu, cara!
The scary footage captures the face of a wild beast with glowing orange eyes, sharp features, and a gray tone. It looks unlike any other forest creature, and unlike any human figure at that. The crew rightly freaks out, and as a deep growl rumbles through the forest, they flee as fast as their legs will carry them. As they race away, howling is heard into the night. Were they really faster than this werewolf, or did the wolf simply find other more alluring prey? Published to YouTube by Proving Demons in May of 2020. You might want to call your local exorcist after watching this video. The uploader explains that the house they entered is known to have been the site of an exorcism, and they were exploring it to capture paranormal activity. He writes, while experiencing heavy poltergeist activity, I could feel the demon inside trying to possess me as it did the previous owner, who is now insane in a mental institution. From that point, our ghost hunt took a turn for the worst. Let's take that turn with them. After hiking up to the abandoned building and entering through a crawl hole, the crew finds the inside looks like a surreal art shed. Colorful paper lanterns hang, arrows are pointing every which way. All natural light in the place is framed by gothic windows. At first, the general aura of the place is curious rather than creepy. There are lots of scraps of paper posted to a board, a large map, a guitar hanging on one wall. As one YouTuber, Lavender Rainbow, points out, there's a pamphlet on the wall. Later in the clip at 16 minutes 29 seconds that reads, Bipolar Disorder Survival Guide. So maybe the person living here was trying to seek psychiatric help. You find yourself wishing you were there, so you might examine things up close and learn more. But then the crew hears a woman screaming. They head towards a back room, with one of the dudes mentioning that they hadn't even made sure they were alone in this building. In fact, the building looks very lived in, not abandoned. There's what looks like a bed in the next room with blankets on it, a full backpack beside it, clothes hanging. Are they alone? He continues into the next room, hearing others inside, but it turns out just to be his own crew. You can hear a lot of sounds and things moving, like there are animals on the roof. Next, the door closes behind him by itself. They use the EVP to see if anyone's there in the home with them. The quick reply is yes. They also hear the words demon, as well as a warning, get out now. The demon tells them they have no right to be there. Andrew says he's starting to feel affected and then his hands are shaking, and moments later something falls off the shelf. Even scarier are the Polaroids that they find of what appears to be an authentic exorcism or ritual of some sort. What do you think went on in this makeshift cathedral of a home? A possession? Would you feel comfortable in the demon's skin? A YouTuber named Joe Hall takes to the streets in search of the supposedly supernatural, black-eyed ghost children who come out at 3 a.m. This trek eventually turns into a long walk along the railroad tracks in the middle of the night. They are just about to give up when one of them spots a small piece of white fabric flapping in the bushes.
Oh my god. What is that thing?
We gotta get out of here, man.
That thing right there, you see it?
Yeah, well, why are we here?
Let's go. Let's go.
From the shadows comes a person draped in a white gown, just like the legends say. However, I think there's probably a strong chance that this was one of their friends, because it pretty much looks and runs like a normal person in my opinion. It's following them for a while, but then it disappears at exactly 11 minutes and 3 seconds, which is strange, though it could be achieved with some simple editing. They reach their ride a minute later, and shortly before they peel off, this white piece of fabric flaps behind them. Maybe I was wrong about my earlier assumption about this being made up. Unfortunately, we never do get to see its face to tell if the eyes were fully black like the legend says, or not. If insects aren't your thing, then this entry will highly test your bravery. This footage is of an insect swarm at the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa. The uploader writes, "During our family holiday in 1996 or 7, we had parked the car and gone for a short walk up the cliffs. When we came back, we found that our car had become a hotspot for these giant wood lice, sea slaters. The clip shows piles upon piles of wood lice crawling around the car tires, an absolutely terrifying sea of insects, all coalescing beneath the vehicle." As the uploader says, probably attracted to its cozy comfiness. After seeing this, would you be brave enough to climb back in and leave? I thought not. This YouTube clip serves as video evidence of just how daring some people can be, or brave, if you look at it the other way. The footage is likely recorded in Russia's Far East, where a large population of bears roam free, bears that have been known to wander into residential areas. In the video, one of these bears has done just that. A big brown bear is seen pacing around an empty lot, while a Russian man just sits calmly on a bench, not making the faintest effort to move or protect himself. In fact, he seems completely unfazed by the wild animal just feet from him. Surprisingly, the wild bear seems more scared of the Russian than this man is of the bear. As the bear roams closer toward him, he suddenly darts away, though the man never moves an inch, while most people would be shaking in their britches in an all-out panic when within sight of a bear. This Russian man doesn't flinch. Maybe we can learn something from him. If you should ever be unfortunate enough to encounter this wild animal, it's best not to panic. Just don't be as nonchalant as this guy. Exploring an abandoned apartment building has gone wrong for these ghost hunters in Bangladesh.
Kitchen, একটা রুম, এইটার হচ্ছে বড় রুম আছে আরো। আমরা এখন
In the corner of the room stands a figure with long black hair over its eyes that sends them running out of the building. It's freaky, but it looks more like somebody wearing a store-bought costume than a ghost sighting. It's creepy, but I'm not quite convinced that it's a real apparition. Are you? Diane thinks she has caught a ghost on video crossing her living room around 3 a.m. The ghost is a woman with long hair whose back is turned. For months, Diane has been feeling something paranormal in her house, and if you look closely, you'll see her cat Noah wake up and look to where the ghost of a weird woman just walked by. There are no other paranormal videos on Diane's channel at all. The rest is 3 years of content about a niche hobby that has nothing to do with the spirit world, which makes me think it could be a real paranormal incident. With that said, I found another video that shows she roughly has the same hair length as the woman who says she was a ghost, so I'm on the fence with this one. Sound in the absence of sight can be seriously alarming. This video shows just how frightening it can feel to hear something you cannot see. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Camilla Rose 529. The Redditor explains that she and a friend were cleaning a house when they heard this incredible mayhem outside.
Yeah. What was that? It's freaking me out.
They went out to see what was causing all the ruckus. The sound fills up all airspace outside. Though garbled, it sounds a bit like a jet flying overhead. A moment later, however, this terrifying roar blows your eardrums out. Maybe not a jet, perhaps a literal monster.
Yeah. What was that? It's freaking me out.
Camilla writes, "We called the police and they were unable to give us any information about what was going on around us. I never went back to that house again." Redditor Paranormal Psychic notes in the comments, there have been multiple eerie sounds coming seemingly from either the woods or the sky itself, usually music, horns, or even screaming. First time I've ever heard growling. Is this a growl? If not, what is it? It certainly doesn't sound human. Dark Mystic is the name of a paranormal YouTuber in Russia who intends on exploring an abandoned cottage home in the middle of some pretty scary woods late at night. He wants to determine what kind of paranormal entities haunt this abandoned building, and he's certain he's caught creepy things on camera. He finds a room with half the walls covered in newspaper clippings. They look to have been carefully cut out and are not overlapping, which to me means they were meant to be read instead of part of a remodeling project or something like that. If you speak Russian, what do these headlines say? I can't help but suspect this is a trophy room and someone is proud of making the news.
Кто здесь?
He hears somebody cough, but nothing is there. It's creepy, but the paranormal activity really picks up when he goes exploring the haunted attic.
Что такое может быть?
He keeps hearing objects getting thrown around, dropped, or otherwise moving on their own. And when Dark Mystic goes to check what they are, something moves into the doorway as if rolled into place by a ghostly hand. Dark Mystic is certain that something paranormal is toying with him and arms himself. He may be right, but I'm not sure what use a blunt force instrument would be on something not of this world, a being made of shadows that peeks at him from around the door. Chris from YouTube channel Sees Crazy Crossroads is sent packing from this abandoned restaurant. He first hears a strange noise in the kitchen.
Sounds like...
He believes it could be residual noise from passing vehicles on the road. It almost sounds like a beehive swarming to me, but then he hears what he thinks sounds like voices.
I want to say that it sounds like a couple of different voices.
I'm not catching that, but I do hear the road noise, which is an eerie wail. He hears the sound again.
The phonic app's not working. I hope you guys are I hope this is picking that up. I mean, that's clear as day.
Well, I'm not sure the mic is capturing what he's hearing. It does capture this next voice, and it's pure evil.
elbow.
I don't blame Chris for leaving at this point. If I heard that, I'd be out of there too. This video, taken in Lottie, Florida, shows two mysterious government vehicles sticking close together as they head to an undisclosed location. No identifying information is written on the side of the trucks. The first truck has red and blue lights on the top, but the one behind it doesn't have any markings at all and could easily be mistaken for a civilian vehicle to the untrained eye. Both trucks are covered in thick armor, and each one has enough room in the back to serve as a mobile command station of some kind, though for what purpose I can't say. People in the comments section of this video are suggesting everything from hazardous waste cleanup to mind control operations. One of the more convincing comments states that these trucks only are seen when a serious threat to national security is detected, like a nuclear device or worse. Again, I don't know what these vehicles are for, but if I saw one in my neighborhood, I would be worried, let alone seeing two. Does this sink need a plumber or a priest? Watch this video and tell me if this paranormal activity is real or just a creepy plumbing problem. There's no motion sensor on this sink, and yet the water somehow turns off on its own, like someone is standing right there. I want to know if this workplace bathroom is as haunted as Tom Cunnington claims. I did some research online, and it looks like it might just need a valve replacement, but I was hoping someone with plumbing experience could tell me if this was the case. If so, hopefully we can put Tom's mind at ease, because I think these scary moments caught on camera have been really freaking him out. Some people think photographs capture the soul. Maybe this soul didn't want to be captured. Published by Dark Life in June of 2021. This poltergeist isn't playing around. While snapping photos in this haunted room, Russian paranormal investigator Dennis hears a rustling that he says sounds like it's coming from the basement. As he continues to take pictures, a massive wardrobe to his right is pushed over onto the ground. He leaves the room, and when he goes to re-enter it, he hears some strange sparking noises while standing in the doorway. The sounds stop. He looks around, asks who is there, but no one answers. Still, he appears to sense something watching him. Is Dennis alone here, or are the spirits all around him? Basements are built to house all the evils of the world. This basement is no exception. Published by YouTuber Mr. Vujade in February of 2012, this frightening basement monster will scare the living daylights out of you. The short clip sees our protagonist heading downstairs into a creepy dark basement. As he slowly searches the space, it appears empty, apart from a few piles of storage items, some bicycles, the usual suspects in a basement. But then suddenly he turns, which is when he is confronted by this. "I'm never going down there again," the YouTuber writes. Who can blame him? I don't think I could ever work up the courage to explore that basement. The Unliving appears in this live stream. Posted to TikTok by Luckman and Jay, a pair of guys are speaking to the camera when behind them something mysterious photobombs their live stream. The robed figure over the young man's shoulder sports a dark face and a head covering. The boy moves in front of it for a moment, blocking the mysterious being from view. He then moves forward again and the figure has vanished. What is this thing? It almost looks like a statue of the Virgin Mary. But then again, where did it disappear to? I guess we're left with more questions than answers for this video. Is there a ghost in this office? YouTuber Georgianne Hampton thinks there is. While one worker was at the office late at night, something strange happened. Watch the bottom right corner. Did something unseen just open that drawer? Or are the mechanics of the dresser off kilter? If this is a one-off event, I tend to think it is probably just a malfunctioning dresser. If there's more to the story and more video evidence, I might change my mind though. Either way, it never hurts to burn some sage. This dashcam footage was taken on a busy road somewhere in India. Nothing looks out of the ordinary until a tiny object performs a bizarre aerial maneuver while hovering above the road. The saucer-shaped object appears to somehow stop and change directions mid-flight. Somehow none of the oncoming motorists in the other lane seem to notice, which I think is odd, but maybe it all happened too fast for them to see. If not, then I think this dashcam video might be a fake, but I'm curious to hear your opinion. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.